Welcome to the Hollywood Outsider, an award-winning weekly entertainment podcast. In this episode, we're going to shake things up by each host bringing up a random discussion topic. We also have reviews of Silent Night, Agnes, House of Gucci, and 8-Bit Christmas, and also our real movie title game. And more. Let's get on with the show. My name is Aaron Peterson, just back from my Magic Mike 3 auditions. I think they went swimmingly. Joining me today are my fellow host, John Davenport.
This is John, and I have absolutely nothing fascinating to say about myself.
Amanda Sink.
Hello, hello. And no, Aaron, I don't think you're getting selected for the third Magic Mike.
Piss off?
Have you seen him with a thong?
There's a chance.
Have you?
Yes, he has.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Why not?
Why do you own thongs?
Why do you judge him?
You're right. I shouldn't judge, but I'm curious about what this relationship is.
It's supposed to help with tan lines. He was on a boat. We were all on a boat. He didn't want tan lines.
Didn't get him either.
Look, the rest of us didn't see that, so I think it was a personal moment between the two of you.
It was, so stop bringing it up. Troy Heinrichs is also here. Poor Troy.
This is why Aaron and I are friends, because I actually did watch Magic Mike just the other night.
Yeah?
It's a great movie.
Did you go to the theater with him and watch it and drag out another person who was completely miserable the entire time?
That was a good time.
No, I did not.
No?
That was a good.
Oh, I win.
That was Magic Mike XXL, John, not the first one. That was the second one we went and saw, right? Wasn't it?
Yes, it was the second one, but who can you tell a difference between the two movies?
The dances are
I can.
different?
The second one is way better.
Ooh, Olivia Munn's not in the second one. So, Troy, what made you watch
Matt Bomer is.
Magic Mike? I'm really curious how this is like several years later. You're sitting around the house going, man, I'm feeling holiday festive. I think I need a little pony in my life. Is that what happened?
He had to wind his wife up.
I was missing little Matthew McConaughey for some reason.
It was all
and
right.
I noticed that it was the end of the month and Magic Mike was leaving the service. So I was like, I'll watch Magic Mike tonight while I fall asleep.
Oh, I didn't realize I was leaving the story. He had a weird ass in that movie. Is that inappropriate to talk about? Because just letting you know.
A weird ass?
He didn't do enough squats.
Yeah, he didn't have what I expected. He didn't have Channing Tatum's bottom. Not that this is a problem for me. I'm just letting you know it was there. It existed.
You know who looked perfect? Matt Bomer.
I'm sensing a thread.
A pattern, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Type.
Yes, that too.
Okay, well, speaking of patterns, let's talk about, I just want to mention this, that NPR had an article about how science did some studies on snapping, and apparently the science has determined that Thanos couldn't have snapped the glove. The science has determined that it wouldn't work for a fictional character to fake snap a fake magical glove with fake magical stones that fake half ended the universe. So I'm glad we finally have that fake settled. Giants!
I only have one question. Who are these people and how do I get to go to work with them?
That sounds like a great job, guys.
It really does, because I want to just
Snaps.
make up shit as I go along too, which I basically do here, but I want to get paid for it though.
But they actually did it like Mythbusters style. They actually took like high-speed cameras and actually like filmed people snapping like over and over and over again and found out that actually a snap is faster than the blink of an eye.
Oh, wow.
So now when you say faster than a blink of an eye, you have to actually say faster than the snap of a finger, because faster than a blink of an eye is actually incorrect, thanks to this study.
So you did learn something from it because everyone else just feels dumber.
No, everybody else just didn't read the damn article.
I read the
They don't
article.
prepare
I'm
for
just
the
like,
show.
I get they were trying to have some, I read the whole article. I'm just like, but it's dumb. We spent
Look,
time on
scientists
this.
have had a really rough couple of years.
This ain't helping. That's all I'm saying.
No, but
They're
this is
just
like,
looking
they
some
need
levity.
something fun. Yeah, something that's not so dour and covered in death. They wanted to like, and there's probably some movie fans and then they're like, haha, look at what we figured out. We actually studied this. I want to know whose money this came from. Was it taxpayer dollars?
That's
or was
exactly
this privately
my
funded?
point. How do I go to work with them and how do I get paid to do this shit? Because I could have just sat there and said, fictional characters. It's a symbolic snap. He could have just farted and done the exact same thing.
Symbolism.
Symbolism.
Yeah.
Should've
Symbolism.
just done the world's
Symbolism.
tiniest violin instead. Like that would have been
Right.
You know, like it's so sad. You're all going to go bye-bye.
I don't care what the symbology is.
It's just so weird. It really is just, it's a weird. And here's my point, Amanda, I get what you're saying. Like, they need to have fun. They need to lighten up. I get it. But when like 30 to 40% of the population doesn't believe in science, they think it's a joke at this point for some silly reason. I don't know if like, guys, if we solve the Thanos problem, I don't know if that really is helping matters.
No, I agree. Because
some dim bulb is going to use this as justification for whatever their point of view is. It's going to be like, oh yeah, I really take them seriously. Didn't they study the Thanos thing? And that's going to be the whole argument. And I can't.
They're gonna be
We're just
I'm gonna
trying
go
to see
listen
if
to
they could snap their finger and make Omicron go away. I mean, come on.
Oh,
I'm going to go listen
Transformer
to
disease.
my best friend in the sky, and he's going to tell me everything anyway. So,
Oh, geez.
sinner.
John, stop drawing lines in the sand. Jesus.
Thanos lives in the sky too, John. Who are you talking to?
Oh, yeah. Who exactly are you speaking of? No.
That's exactly my point.
Don't answer the question. For people that were wondering, I don't know why you would be, but apparently Tom Holland was hinting that might be done with Spider-Man. Felt more like to me that he was fishing for a better contract. But it was confirmed by Amy Pascal, producer on Spider-Man, that Tom Holland will be coming back for another Spider-Man trilogy. Surprise.
whether he likes it or not.
Well, he can't do much else.
Because we wanted 3 more movies that aren't about Spider-Man?
He did that. Yeah, he did something else. What
Devil
was it
All the
called?
Time. He was good in that. He did Cherry.
Oh.
That wasn't good. But
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of.
Uncharted doesn't look great.
He did the one with Daisy Ridley, right? The
Chaos Walking. Yeah,
Chaos Walking.
that was okay.
That one was
He's not
okay.
a bad actor. But,
No.
And it's going to be a new trilogy. It's going to be an MCU trilogy. Hopefully the search for Uncle Ben. You know?
He would probably get into a lot of like young adult romancy type of films.
Like a
I
Twilight
think
remake.
if he didn't. No, God, I hope
He's
not.
See, you say that now, and now we've like ruined No Way Home because of the multiverse thing. Like Uncle Ben's going to show up in No Way Home just because.
Which Uncle Ben, though? Is it going to
Yeah.
be like the
Martin
Andrew
Sheen.
Garfield Uncle Ben?
It'll be
I don't
Martin
think at this
Sheen.
point Aaron cares as long as it's named Uncle Ben.
I don't care if it's a
It
freaking
could
box,
be a box
of
of rice for all he cares.
Exactly. Same brain.
Did that just happen?
All right, that's the end of the show. Y'all have a good night. Bye.
That's literally all that needs to happen. I'll be a
You
happy
guys
guy.
spend too much time together.
Well, you know what? Here's how we're doing our topic. You know, we always have a topic every week. We're doing a little different. We're coming up on the end of the year. We've only got a few episodes left. So we kind of wanted to do something a little different. So each one of the hosts has their own discussion topic. Could be short, could be long. I don't know how long it's going to be. We also have reviews that'll be in the middle of those. So that's how the show's going to work this week. Those are a couple news items. We weren't joking. Magic Mike 3 is actually coming to HBO Max. That's happening with Steven Soderbergh back. I think that's kind of great. I don't know why. I just do. Remember, you can always find more information at thehollywoodoutsiders.com. Join our Facebook group, or we're on Twitter at @BuyPopcorn. And we'll have another announcement coming up shortly, but we'll get there when we talk about Patreon. So right now, we're going to go into our first 2 questions from Amanda and Troy. Troy, first, you get the first run. What is your discussion topic? What do you want to talk about?
Well, in this world of interesting conglomeration and consolidation of movie studios, and I just kind of thinking, Encanto came out over the Thanksgiving weekend, and I said, it looks like a Pixar movie. Is it a Pixar movie, or is it a Disney Animation Studios movie? So since both are owned by Disney, I wanted to ask, why do we need 2 animation studios underneath the same parent company? Because I don't understand why there has to be confusion as to, is it a Pixar movie or is it a Disney Animation Studios movie? It's a Disney movie, period. End of sentence. So do you think that having multiple companies hurts the brand, or do you think having multiple companies is better for the brand?
You know, you have Lexus and you have Toyota. They're the same damn car, but one has
They are?
better, huh?
They are the same car?
Literally, the
car.
Lexus is the Camry.
I didn't know
Right.
that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Not a car guy.
Infinity and Nissan, the same car. Acura and Honda, the same
The same
car.
car.
Wow. I'm learning all kinds of things today.
Cadillac and GMC and Chevy, same car.
Don't need them all. I got the gist.
Okay. That being said, with your example of Pixar and Disney, I think that it's nice having two different brands of the same thing, because one tells stories in a way that actually is better. Pixar, the whole thinking behind a Pixar movie is actually much more thorough and much more well-rounded to the entire audience, whereas like Disney stuff focuses primarily on the children, and if you get some adult friendly things in there, it's
a bonus.
It's bonus. This whole idea of consolidating everything down to one brand, I understand the concept, and I've thought about it a lot, but I also understand what they're trying to say when everything gets put out under whatever banner they're putting it out under.
Yeah, I'm sure part of it also has to do with separating funding streams from a business perspective. And it's not like any of us don't know who these movies come from. Disney is still very well branded on them. We know that they come from Disney. We know that this mega conglomerate corporation that's taking over the entire world is still getting our $10. We know that. So I don't feel like their brand is hurt by this. I feel like it's more just a way for them to separate out with more specific missions. Like John was talking about, you have movies that are more dedicated here, movies that are more dedicated there. But to us on the outside, when we're just looking at this stuff, it's like, does it really make a difference? And I'm sure to animators and storytellers in that world, they're probably like, nah, this should be separate for the reasons that John's describing.
I don't like animated movies because I'm dead inside, but I will seek out a Pixar movie every time. I don't care about the rest of them. So I do think the brand matters for whatever reason, because Disney has historically, outside of whatever the hell Cars is, has made films that are very specifically tailored to both audiences when it's Pixar, where I think Disney is more tailored toward kids and families. So I can go watch a Pixar movie and I feel like I'm getting something and kids are getting something, and they're two totally different things. If I go to one that's just branded Disney, I feel like it's pretty much like every other animated movie I've ever seen. Or, typically, there's always exceptions to every rule, but I find Pixar to be something I seek out. I don't seek out Disney. Not since they stopped traditional animation. The old traditional animation days, I would definitely seek Disney out. I feel like the storytelling has really suffered since they got away from it.
But I think that's the challenge, because like if you look at Disney Plus versus Hulu, that Disney Plus you're getting the family friendly flair, and on Hulu you're getting the more adult themed content. Like Pixar and Disney Animation Studios, there's no difference between the two. Like Frozen was just as good as
I disagree,
anything
man.
Pixar got put out.
I disagree.
Right?
I disagree. I honestly, I feel like I see a difference when I see Pixar and Disney.
I agree with Aaron. There's a difference to be seen between the two different studios, and as somebody who I know a lot of people who went to go to work for Pixar and Disney, and those people, you can tell a difference in the people who work there, because one person is it's just different. It really is just different as far as the mentality of the whole product.
Like, I would say Frozen is trying to be more of a family. Like, that's more in line with a Disney brand. It's family, princess, the whole
singing,
the whole, where Pixar just, it feels like they are telling a story that works for families and children, but they also always have underlying dramatic, mature undertones. My opinion.
I've cried at more Pixar movies than I have at more Disney movies.
Pixar movies really focus on bringing those what if stories to life, and the Disney movies are often more fairy tale like, and they're more inclined to do musicals, where the Pixar movies are more likely to just incorporate some really good songs that aren't musical related. So I feel like they do have a distinct difference between the types of films that are being produced. What we need to be talking about is Disney Tunes, the bullshit side piece or whatever that is creating these disgusting sequels to classics. Why does that exist? Why are those movies being made?
Because money.
Yeah. And this isn't anything new for Disney or any other theater for that, or group for that matter, but because I'm like Lake Buena Vista was a production company of Disney. What were some of the other ones? Do you remember?
Touchstone.
Like Touchstone Television versus ABC Studios.
Right, like Touchstone, all these things, they were all under Disney's umbrella before the big names of Pixar and Marvel and Lucasfilm got brought under the umbrella. So it's not anything new. And the same thing, each one of those different production houses had a different style about it and a different kind of story they were telling. It was Disney's way of being able to attract more adult-themed things into their umbrella.
But you can't tell me that Luca was fundamentally better than Raya and the Last Dragon.
I didn't see Raya and the Last Dragon. You know why? Because it said Disney.
Yeah, Luca, I watched.
Yeah.
Raya and the Last Dragon, I didn't rush out for.
I mean, I hate to say that, but that is the honest to God. Like Pixar, I make a point to see. I sometimes catch the Disney animated ones. That's all. So I do think the brands matter. I think the brands matter.
Right.
Amanda, you get the next one.
So I wanted to talk about what types of movies in terms of genre or television that you're drawn to with certain moods. So if you're really sad, if you're heartbroken, do you run towards those sappy romances and eating a box of chocolates while you're crying? Or are you somebody who's like drawn to some brutal action flicks or maybe even horror movies? So, and you can choose the mood that you associate with running to a certain genre of films with, but I'm just curious, what is it for you?
First, I want to preface, none of this is admissible in court, right?
Correct.
Good call. Just checking. I've been known in the past, obviously, it's been a while, married. I've been known after like bad breakup, throw on a little Friday the 13th. You know, it just, for whatever reason, I'm not specifying what the reason. There's just, you know, something about makes me feel warm and cuddly inside.
That brings you comfort.
It's comfort food. That's what I'm saying. It's comfort food. It makes me think about good times before
throwing women up against trees.
No,
in their...
of course not. No, I only enjoy watching the guys get butchered. It's very much just a something that makes me feel just makes me forget whatever is going on and my stupid choices and being involved with whoever that person was or people.
I think it says more about what you're saying about the other person. Like, oh, look, she's too dumb to run out of the house.
Could be. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it could be.
He's not saying that out loud.
I'm saying comedies never did anything. All comedies ever do would make me feel sadder for some reason. And I never understood the purpose of somebody just broke my heart. Let me go watch some sappy romance movie. Why would you do that to yourself? That just sounds like the worst idea ever. So
that's what I do.
Movies.
It's cathartic.
I watch slasher movies.
100% cathartic.
I don't know. I can't imagine watching. And there's a lot of movies that I love to watch when I'm in love or feeling loved, like, you know, that I go back to several times over and over and over again because they make me feel great. But during a sort of breakup situation, the things I kind of, or any sort of situation where I'm not exactly happy, the things that I run to are horror flicks, or they are procedurals on television, just like stuff that I don't have to pay attention to, but somehow they fill the room with enough noise that I can't hear myself over and over again, you know?
You're projecting that the ex gets picked up for a major crime?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
I get that.
I guess I'm the hopeless romantic, and I always have like the
Which
one
is
go-to
weird.
for the most of the time. Like if I'm angry and stuff, I usually play video games and take it out, like, you know, killing or blowing something up. But like when it comes to like, oh man, like I wish this would happen, or it could happen, or I want this to happen, or whatever, I always land on serendipity for some reason. Like I just have this like, there's always hope.
That's a good movie.
That $5 bill
sweet.
is just going to show up one time, and I'm just going to be ready for them when the $5 bill shows up.
Yeah, I don't believe in hope.
Jesus, that's dark.
Poor John.
Jeez, that's so
You
dark.
just had a rough year. That's it. You'll have hope again.
All right, somebody. Okay, so explain this to me, you two saps. So, what is it about I just got my heart destroyed that makes you think I'm going to go watch something sad?
Because it makes me cry. And then I get it
What,
out.
aren't you
I feel
already
that.
crying?
Sometimes not, but it makes me, and like you're connecting to that character, and it feels like, in a way, and this is going to sound so cheesy, in a way, you guys are in it together. Like, you're not alone going through this because
but
they're
that
also
character is
going through it.
get the other person, and you just lost
Not
the
always.
other person.
That's why I watch Grey's Anatomy, because
They
a lot of
always
times the
get 'em.
person dies,
They
and then
always
it's
get
even
'em.
more sad.
I don't get the point. I'm just going to go make myself suffer more. No, I want to do the one where they, oh, gee, I don't know what happened to the ex. She disappeared. Oh, those are the ones I'm going to watch. I'm not going to watch the one where the relationship is, oh, I finally found my special someone. Oh, shit. That's not going to work out.
Well, not like a Hallmark or a Lifetime one. Like those are bad.
Right.
Yeah, ones that are like true like romance, like Love Actually.
That's
You know,
true.
You get to the end and you're just kind of like, oh, like they got together.
Oh,
Do you
so good.
also want your best friend
best
to
friend.
hit on your wife?
Yeah. Ooh, that makes me feel warm and fuzzy that my best friend totally just
I'm pretty sure that's happened to some people.
spent 3 hours writing signs about how he loves my wife, and she hangs out the door going, yeah, you can keep this up. Finish up.
Jen, we're sending you love.
Yeah, so I watching a romance, especially in that kind of state, I can't understand the want to do that, because like you're already in a vulnerable position, and you're gonna be like, it's so pretty because you came back for her. Nobody's
Yeah.
gonna ever do that for me.
Yeah,
exactly.
100%.
Yeah, I can't, man. I can't.
I just ruined some good clothes with all these tears. Oh, that feels so much better now. I'm so glad I
It
did
does.
this.
Crying it helps you release all of that.
No,
like I
you
feel
hold
so
it
much
inside
better.
like you're supposed to do, like you're trained since childhood to do. You do not show feelings ever.
Oh,
Right?
no. See, I'm not even on that side of this argument either. I spend the time crying like in a dark room someplace. And when I finally let myself out of that dark room, that's when I finally sit down and watch something and be like, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to watch some murder. Hey, I'm going to feel better. God damn it.
So you go to murder. You're like, I'm going to watch a true crime
I
documentary
get
because
this. No, he said horror. He said a horror earlier.
I can't watch something that's lovey because lovey doesn't exist. It's not real. I can't watch something that's funny because I don't really feel like laughing. I can't watch anything that takes me into a wistful sense because like I don't have an imagination anymore. And I can't watch like action because I don't have best friends to do this shit with. So all I can watch is the goddamn monster in the goddamn forest running through and killing people because it makes me feel good on the inside.
I'm sorry, John. Your time is up for this week. We'll see you next week's session.
Yeah, and the check is in the mail.
Thanks.
Jesus.
what about
Sorry.
when you're we'll say not necessarily sad, but we can talk about maybe like you're really excited about something or you're really angry.
Oh, then I go to comedy.
Sports movies, definitely. Like Miracle,
Yeah.
Remember the Titans, Rudy.
Oh, angry, I can't watch anything, but really excited, I can watch just about anything. Like I said, when I'm feeling loved and feeling safe and feeling awesome, I'll watch romances, I'll watch fantasy stuff, I'll watch the coolest shit that you can find. I'm in a mood. I'll watch anything. I'll watch freaking like romance stories by myself because that's how secure I am when I'm feeling good and happy.
If I'm feeling great, yeah, I'll watch anything because just movies make me feel better. But if I'm angry, it's usually a comedy. And I'm one of those people where I can get really angry really fast, but I get over it almost just as fast. Like I just don't cling to stuff for very long. And a good comedy will shake me out of it really fast. Psych will always do that. So, I mean, if I'm having a really bad day, I will put on whatever makes me feel most comfort, which is usually Psych. And I don't care how many times I've said it. It's still a fact. I've seen those episodes probably 20 times each, and I still will put one on, even as background, and I just feel better. Automatically just feel better.
I've been watching a lot of How I Met Your Mother. Like I've watched the series a couple times in the last few months, primarily because like the main character keeps on getting his teeth kicked in by women over and over and over again, and that
Jesus
makes me feel better.
You need a hug or something.
I think I'm rabid at this point.
I think so. I think so. Schitt's Creek is another one too. Like that's become like
Yes.
a therapeutic show at this point where I will just be like, man, today sucked. I just need to see David for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
David makes me feel better for some reason.
Alexis. Oh, that's somebody else. I should have mentioned that's somebody else. That's on my list. Amy Murphy. Yep. Mm-hmm. You guys have to listen to the Patreon episode to get that one.
Yeah. Wait, thanks for making it weird though. That's cool.
No problem. I mean, I've already crossed that line, I think, about 5.5 minutes ago, but all right.
I do. I have in the past. I mean, obviously, I haven't lost a ton of people, but I've lost several people that were close to me. Every time I've lost someone that's close to me, I will watch something that makes me think of them. Is that a mood?
Yes.
So I do that.
That definitely counts.
Yep. And sometimes if they're like my grandma or my grandpa's birthdays come around or something like that, I will put in something to make me think of them. I always watch Lethal Weapon at Christmas because it makes me think of my grandpa. And I usually do that one like by myself, which might sound weird because, I usually watch a lot of stuff with my family and stuff around the holidays, but Lethal Weapon I'll always watch alone. Like I don't want to watch it with people.
I don't think that's weird. I think you're trying to, that's your way of reconnecting, if you will.
Yeah. Because it's like his last big present to me, and it was kind of a big deal when it happened. So I want that for me. I don't want to share that.
Yeah, that's your special thing. That's not weird.
Thank God. Because I cried the whole... No, I don't. I'm just like... Oh,
it's okay to cry, Aaron.
I don't understand this crying thing, Although I will say, probably, I don't know why, but as I've gotten older, I do cry more. Like I didn't cry. I don't think 20 through 40 I cried ever, except when people literally died. But outside of that, I don't think I ever cried. But I find myself really getting choked up over moments in movies now because I'm older and I think I have more to reflect on. So it'll make me think of other things that have happened in life. And I'm just like, that makes me think of this thing or that thing or that. And that's
it's also a sense of security. You know yourself a lot better now.
Well, that's probably true. Sure.
When I hit 25, I started crying at literally everything. Every sweet moment, all the best friends, all of that. But when I was younger and I was like a teenager, I'd make fun of my mom for being that way because I just wasn't. I was almost just like too unaffected by some of those things.
Like you needed tests, maybe.
Yeah. I was just like, I don't understand why you're scared, why you're, sad or anything like that. I enjoyed the movie and that was it. It didn't, change my emotions as much as now I'll watch something and I feel things just much deeper than I used to.
More life experience. You gone through some shit, right?
Yeah.
A parent dies or a friend dies or grieving a loss of a friendship or a lover. I mean, you go through that stuff and then you see it portrayed on screen. Like true story. Okay.
No, tell a freaking lie.
Behind the scenes of Troy. So we're watching Inside Out, right? It's a freaking cartoon. Okay. Aaron hates these types of movies.
I love that movie though. I love that movie.
We're watching Inside Out and I thought for sure, spoiler alert, for those that haven't seen it, but I thought for sure that Bing Bong, the imaginary friend, was going to be like the savior of the movie. And then when Bing Bong doesn't make it to the end of the movie, I was on the floor, like distraught, emotionally weeping in the theater. And people are looking at me like, what is wrong with this guy? And apparently it's because I had an imaginary friend growing up, my mom told me. So.
Oh,
that was your
really
friend.
Cool that your brain kind of connected that for you.
Yeah, like traumatic loss.
Yeah.
Like my imaginary friend doesn't exist anymore. And it's like, oh my God, he's dead.
And you know why that connected with you? Because it was a Pixar movie.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
John, you had a story. You said it reminded you of a story you started to. And
well, I'm not going to follow that story.
You have to. All stories are important.
All stories are important. No, they're not. I guarantee you. Some of them are just garbage.
This is a movie podcast based on stories that we all watch on screen.
There you go.
So, yeah, kind of important.
Well, I was just reminded of one of the first times I remember crying at a movie. I grew up in Panama. When during the summer vacations, we would come to the States for a month, and we stayed at a condo. And that was like my first experience with cable, actual cable, because otherwise it was like monkeys holding up antennas and shit, making sure you got TV signal. And we had HBO, and my parents had gone out for the night, and it was just my older brother, my sister, and I in the condo. My sister had already gone to bed, so my brother and I are watching The Toy. And
with Richard Pryor?
Richard Pryor and Jackie Gleason. And we're watching The Toy. And I remember at the very end of that movie, like the end of that movie was so sad to me when like the kid goes back to school and Richard Pryor, suddenly has to like figure out what he's going to do with himself. And he gets this whole job situation. And then and then like the other family tries to buy him for the summer for their kid, and he gets shot and runs off in the street. I cried so hard at the end of that movie. I don't know why. I still don't know why, but it's one of the sweetest moments I can remember with my older brother, because for those of you who have older brothers, or for those of you who are middle children who understand this, it was probably the one nicest thing my brother had ever been to me at the moment, because I was crying, I was upset, and he actually came over and hugged me and said everything's going to be okay.
That's really sweet.
That's very sweet.
But also I have a question, because you make Panama sound like you guys were like destitutely poor and living in dire circumstances. How'd you afford to go on vacation for an entire month to the States? I live in the States and I couldn't even afford to go to another state for an entire month for vacation.
One, it was the 80s. Things were just cheaper in the 80s. Number two, I just make jokes about the fact that like it was destitute. It really wasn't bad living. We had 2 live-in maids. It was actually kind of nice.
We had 2
Oh, you were
live-in
rich in
maids.
Panama.
Wait a minute. You were just telling me like monkeys holding the antenna. Yeah, 2 live-in maids.
You're the Rose family.
The maids were the one holding the antenna. You son of a bitch.
Well, I can't call them monkeys. That's wrong.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
We had 2 live-in maids.
They were like family. They were so awesome. I loved them.
I'm sure they were. Okay, we can't take your story seriously anymore. Jesus. These poor
my
maids.
God.
I hope they're listening. And I hope they're like, I am not a monkey.
It was Angela and Dixiana, and they were awesome. Dixiana used to pop my toes when I watched television.
Okay.
You were not making yourself sound any less fancy, bitch.
I've never had someone pop my toes for me to give me comfort and relaxation.
God, all this time I really thought you were living in a third world lifestyle and stuff. I mean, this whole time, like when I say I grew up in the projects, John, I actually mean the projects were there. You're apparently like, well, I mean, I saw third world housing down the way when my maids would take me in the rolls and we'd go for a little spin.
Whenever we got the good ice cream, we had to go through the bad parts.
Right.
And I saw people whose monkeys were holding the antennas. I saw it. I did. It just didn't happen to be at my house.
Don't be jealous.
So what was your maid's name? Angela?
We had Angela and Dixiana.
So Angela was like your Alexa.
Okay, no. Angela used to beat my ass.
Angela, turn the channel. Crack my toes.
No, Dixiana used to crack my
Dixiana
toes.
cracked his toes.
Dixiana cracked my toes. Angela used to beat my ass.
Could you not crack your own toes, you freaking savage? You rich bitch savage.
Hey, listen.
Do
you're
you
sounding very judgy.
think when she was younger, her dreams were I'm going to work in this fancy bitch's house and crack this little toddler's toes?
It was a quadruple wide trailer.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it was with a pool.
It was
with a pool
no
and a
pool.
sauna.
We didn't have pool. No, we had to go to my family's health club to go to the pool.
Jesus Christ, we're moving on from this. All right. Any other mood questions?
I don't even know what's real anymore.
I don't either. I don't either. Amanda, let's go to Patreon. Why don't you tell us about Patreon?
Well, our show is independently funded, and so all of the expenses are from our own pockets. Patreon is a way to support your favorite podcasts. Once you sign up for Patreon, you get immediate access to all of the content in the respective tier that you choose. Now that you understand what it is, if you want to support the show, we appreciate it. We love you. You can go to patreon.com/The Hollywood Outsider. And for the next week, so until next Wednesday, the 8th of December, until 11:59 p.m. Central Time, you can get 30% off an annual subscription on Patreon. So any of the tiers that are normally $5, $10, or $20, you can get for 30% off. It's a pretty sweet deal if you ask me, and we just wanted to do something to say thank you back to the listeners of the show, those who've maybe been contemplating joining our Patreon. And if you are an existing Patreon subscriber, you can still get in on this deal too. All you have to do is change the tier that you're currently on, change your plan, and you'll get the discount because we're not trying to gyp you guys.
So if I'm on the $5 plan and I want to just stay on the $5 plan, I just have to do an annual subscription and then that would work as well?
Yep. And then you'll get the discount.
That sounds amazing.
And not scripted at all. All right, now let's go to spoiler-free reviews. We've got 4 movies, so we'll get through them here fairly quickly. But let's start with Silent Night. Holy... Nope, just Silent Night.
So this is a film that Aaron was able to check out. Nell, Simon, and their son Art are ready to welcome friends and family for what promises to be a perfect Christmas gathering. Perfect except for one thing. Everyone is going to die. This feels a little spoilery, Aaron. I'm not sure. Is this as spoilery as it seems?
Not really. It's I'm not going to tell you how they're all going to die. There is kind of, because what it does is the movie like subverts expectations, right? So if you watch the trailer, if you hear the description, you kind of think it's going to be a ready or not scenario where somehow somebody's going to kill everyone or something. It's a murder mystery or something like that. It's not. It's actually kind of thoughtful. It's a very contemplative kind of movie where you have very close friends coming together for the holidays because they're all conscious of the fact that there's a good chance they're all going to die. I won't say why or how or anything like that because the discovery is kind of part of the journey. But it's not really about what's going to happen to them all. It's more about them coming together and kind of facing the fact that their fate is aligned and they kind of want to have this last hurrah together.
Does it feel like a Christmas movie then? It sounds like you have that concept of everyone coming together. I
mean, there's definitely holidays and there's dickish people and there's much more laid back people and there's dilemmas, but it's really more, I mean, I think that the holiday is used as a great backdrop because that's a way and a reason for people to come together to begin with, right? That's why a lot of people already gather with family and friends. And this is taking it to a next level, which is, hey, we all know or think we know that we are going to expire at a certain time. We want to have this last holiday with our family, with our kids, with those we love, and just deal with the ramifications of what's to come head on and together. And because of that, it ends up spiraling into conversations about mortality and about choices and about what's the right thing to do, what's the right choice to make. And it's very, honestly, I mean, very timely with today's events. And people also debating if they want to leave this earth on their own terms or the terms that fate /science/ the earth determines. I mean, there's a lot to think about in the movie, which I love when a movie makes you want to think. It doesn't happen often enough. I don't want it in every movie, but it's nice to have it when you have it. And this one I was left with, I'm not sure what I'd do. I'm not sure what I'd do in this specific scenario, but it made me wonder, and it was very heartfelt, and I thought it was very genuine and realistic, and the people were really sharing genuine feelings people would have in this particular scenario.
And this is a film that stars Keira Knightley, who, if I'm not mistaken, you're not usually incredibly fond of. Like, you think she's very okay. Is that right? Fair to say?
I mean, she's fine. I don't dislike her.
Is she just fine here also?
No, she actually, she stars as Nell. She's a mother of 3 boys, and it was kind of nice to see her in that role. I haven't seen her do a real motherly role, unless you count the very last few minutes of Pirates of the Caribbean. So I thought she did very well. She really carried the weight of a mother with her and what she was kind of dealing with and wrestling with, because she's also, not only is she dealing with her own mortality, she's dealing with the potential for her children's mortality and to falter. And she's trying to address that while also being strong. And I really felt like she was doing all the acting is very good in this movie. I thought she excelled. She stood above the pack. Also has Annabelle Wallace in it, who's been in a ton of things lately, but she was also recently in *Malignant*. So if you liked her in *Malignant*,
okay.
She plays a real uppity kind of wench here, but she does it well.
Awesome. And it looks like this is the directorial debut for Camille Griffin, who wrote and directed this film.
Yes, and I will say the direction is very simplistic. She's done a lot of shorts. This is her first feature. It's very simplistic in that there's nothing fancy here, but there are a couple of special effects. There are a couple of shots that are a little more creative, but overall it's a very static shot film where it's just like actors and scenes. So it's more about the writing, and I think the writing is sharp.
Wonderful. And if the full price of admission for Silent Night were $10, what are you giving it?
$7. I think this is really
solid,
a good flick. It is not a horror movie, so the trailer might throw you off a little bit, but there are some horrific elements to it. The backdrop is a little horrific. The scenario is kind of tragic. But there's also a lot of heart and thoughts put into this. Like, it's very thoughtful. It's very contemplative, like I said. So it's very subjective to what people feel about certain things too. I liked it.
And when and where is this one premiering?
It comes out in theaters on December 3rd. Limited release. Which these days, probably video on demand as well. So, look there. Now, next we have 8-Bit Christmas, which I don't know if everybody saw it, but I know Troy and Amanda did. So, Troy, why don't you start this one off?
Yeah, it's set in the late 1980s. A young boy named Jake Doyle plans to get a Nintendo Entertainment System. Yes, it's not a video game console. It's an entertainment system before everyone else, as the story is told by the older version of Jake Doyle, played by Neil Patrick Harris. And I think this one, Amanda, is one we can put in the books and say it's probably going to go into the holiday rotation on a regular basis going forward, because it hit all the marks, at least for me.
It was really good. I don't know if I would say this is going to be on my regular rotation, but this is one that I would encourage you to check out this year and, throw it in the mix when you're looking for something to watch around the holidays. But it was definitely heartwarming, and I really enjoyed the end result, and the storytelling was really unique too. So
I think that was the biggest surprise of the movie for me, was you're thinking the whole thing is going to be about the, pursuit of the system, the going to the shopping center and pushing and shoving and all this other stuff. And then when you find out what the movie's actually about at the end, you're just kind of like, oh man, like totally did not see that coming. But I think that's also where the movie kind of suffers as well, because the first, 40 minutes or so of the movie, you're kind of like, I don't know, this isn't doing so good for me, but it does redeem itself at the end. So like, I think I talked about giving it like 7 out of 10, but like the first half of the movie, I was kind of more like 5 out of 10, but then by the end of the movie, I'm like 8 out of 10. So
see, I didn't feel that way. I felt like it was a little bit slower paced in the beginning, but I was still interested in what was going to happen. And I feel like that's mostly credited to Neil Patrick Harris and the writing. Yeah. He is so good. And he just has such a magnetic personality where with him even just starting to tell the story, I want to know where it goes. And I know that it's going to go somewhere good. So I was interested, and I was still engaged with the younger characters that he was reflecting on and telling the story about. And it just kind of was a little bit of a reminiscent sort of thing. And we were also all playing a little game of, does this all line up? Because Nintendo released in 83 and a lot of the movies referenced were in 87.
88.
So, 88.
Yeah, which is weird, because I remember getting a Nintendo and it wasn't that freaking hard. I was talking to Scott Clark, former host, and of course, he buys into everything because there's a video game involved, so he's all on board. But I'm like, I don't understand the math, man. I can't understand. In 88, why are kids going this crazy to get a Nintendo? It ain't that hard to get. Every kid I know had one by then, even the poor kids, because I was a poor kid and I had one. So I don't understand the hoopla and why it's in 88, because there's a ton of 88 jokes. There's a great Die Hard joke in there, by the way. I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was great.
Which, by the way, wasn't really a thing in 1988, so it's kind of funny that it's just very meta, because nobody was really debating that back in 88, but whatever. So, but I don't understand, because it was 5 years after Nintendo came out. Now, Troy, you were alive then. Am I wrong about this?
I mean, yeah, I don't remember seeing a lot of issues getting a Nintendo or hearing about Nintendo. I remember the Cabbage Patch Crisis, which this also does cover.
Crisis.
Throughout the course of the movie. You could not get a Cabbage Patch Kid.
It really was a
anywhere.
crisis.
Yeah.
There were
insane.
moms ready to cut people to get Cabbage Patch dolls.
See, I'm a 90s baby, so I had a Cabbage Patch Kid by the time this was all resolved.
Yeah.
I do remember, though, that when Super Mario Brothers 2 came out for the Nintendo Entertainment System, that was a hot find that Christmas, and nobody could get a copy anywhere.
No, see, I remember that stuff, but I mean, the console itself had been out for like 4 or 5 years by the time this movie is set. That's what I'm saying. Like, I remember people wanted Nintendo and everything else, but I just don't remember 5 years after the fact it's still being like this. So I guess that's probably where I just thought that was weird.
Yeah, I think it was probably because when Zelda came out, there was like a bigger push for the console at that point because it was something interesting and different.
Maybe.
But at the same time, it was for Nintendo. It was actually hard for Nintendo to actually even get shelf space to sell the product in the stores. And I think that's where it's interesting that they're focusing so much on like getting the Nintendo, and it was like all sold out or not there or what have you. And I really didn't think that the movie actually focused on that so much because there was plenty of the Nintendos in the Macy's store, like at the demo unit. So it was I think it was just,
well,
some of it
they
worked,
made
some
it
of
seem
it didn't.
there was one kid in town that has a Nintendo. The whole town, there's only one kid, and everybody
Right.
lines up at his house. It was so absurd, but I mean, kind of funny. But also, it was a funny joke that lasted about 20 minutes too long. It was one of those things. But I just don't remember. I'm nitpicking, I guess. But I mean, if you're gonna set something at a certain time, at least make it reflective of the time. And I just don't recall that. I could be too old that I don't recall correctly. It's possible.
Well, I wasn't even alive, and it took me out because I was like, wait a second. I don't think this timeline is matching up here. Like, this doesn't seem right to me. So
It must be the Marvel timeline. That's probably what it is. It's just, thanks, Wanda.
But I think if you don't notice that, now you probably will. So sorry.
But did you guys think it very much was reminiscent of basically a Christmas Story with a Nintendo instead of a Red Ryder BB gun? I
mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, I think I said that it's a combination of Christmas Story meets Jingle All the Way in a lot of ways. Somebody said it was reminiscent of the Princess Diaries, and I was like, it's not really Princess Diaries. It's probably more Princess Bride.
Princess Bride.
Yeah, because of the way that Grandpa reads the story to the kid.
Sure.
I could buy into that. But yeah, I mean, even if it is like a complete like kind of redo concept of Christmas Story, it's actually really fun because it's like for our generation to see this go down. It's like, yeah, I remember that time when like that first Christmas when you actually got a Nintendo, like how freaking stoked you were.
Yeah, it was great
that you finally had one. Like I totally buy into that where, people that would be growing up on A Christmas Story would be like, sure, I'd want a BB gun, I guess.
I think it's pulling on the cliche or the topic that they were using from A Christmas Story, but it's not, it's obviously not just a replica of the film or a reboot or remake or something. It still felt unique and different enough on its own. And for me, as someone who did not grow up at this time when there was apparently a crazy frenzy to get the NES, I was still able to connect with it because I know how people are still crazy about these console systems now, but also we've all been that kid who's really, really wanted something, like really wanted it. That's all you want. And you're going to do everything you can to make it happen. The story is great because he's not just leaving it up to the Christmas miracle and Santa to give it to him. He's trying to do everything he can to work hard to get it. Yeah. And I loved that concept. I think that was a great addition to the story to have him, pull out all the stops to get what he's trying to get. And the end result of the film having very little to do with all of the story, but still having so much to do with it, that was nice.
It's a beautiful ending.
I love the daughter. We all saw that coming, I'm sure, but in the beginning, she doesn't want to listen to the story. Obviously, she sits around and she listens to the story. And I think that speaks to probably a lot of parents and a lot of kids, too, who are like, God, Dad, I'm so tired of hearing, about all this stuff about you walking 8 miles uphill in the snow, just to get to school. But as it goes along, she's like, this is a really cool story. I want to know what happens.
Yeah, and I love the kids. The kids cast in this was actually really good. Once they finally get moving with the plan and how they have to execute the plan, I thought they all worked off of each other really, really well, and I thought the plan was actually pretty solid. And
Yeah.
and when you see what happens when the plan doesn't work out, you're just like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe that happened. Like I think I gasped out loud, audibly.
There's a lot
In
of
my chair.
good stuff there. But the ending, once going back to the whole emotional thing, got choked up.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah, I was totally
It's
crying.
worth it for the ending.
For sure. A great Christmas spirit movie for sure by the time it is over.
So if $10 full price admission, what do you guys give 8-Bit Christmas?
I'm sticking with my 7.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7 as well.
Okay. Well, now we're going to move to House of Gucci.
Wait, what about you? You saw the movie.
I didn't want to, because they're 550.
Oh, wow.
It struggled, I think, for the first hour. It was really kind of like it was hit or miss. And then it finally found its footing. The ending makes it all worth it. So I definitely recommend people watch it. I don't think I'll revisit it next Christmas or anything. It's no Christmas Chronicles, sir. I'm sorry. Now, House of Gucci.
Oh, I'm so sad I haven't seen this.
Oh, my God. When
gonna take my
Patrizia
headphones off.
Reggiani, an outsider from humble beginnings, marries into the Gucci family, her unbridled ambition begins to unravel their legacy and triggers a reckless spirit of betrayal, decadence, revenge, and ultimately a murder. Now, Troy, you saw this, yes?
I did see this.
Okay, well, Ridley Scott is running around town proclaiming that he hates young people. But as someone who hates overlong movies, did this 2 hours and 37-minute runtime make you hate Ridley Scott?
I did also see The Last Duel earlier this year. So no, I would not say I hate Ridley Scott specifically.
But
What
was
I
it
would
too long?
say is that it is ungodly, unnecessarily long. Like there is just no reason that this needs to be padded the way it's padded. It could have been done probably in an hour and 50 minutes and still hit all the high points that you needed to hit. The costume department did a great job. Obviously, everybody's fashion is on point and fantastic. Jeremy Irons is great. Al Pacino is great. Driver's great. Gaga's great. Everybody's great. They do everything they're supposed to do. The problem is that the movie is based on a book by Sarah Gay Forden. And for me, not knowing like the entire story, like I think this is like very similar to Dune. If you're a book fan of Dune and you always wanted to see the things that Dune does and puts it on the screen, you're like, Dune was awesome. If you know nothing about Dune and going into Dune, you're like, oh my God, I'm watching sand float across the desert for 2.5 hours. And I think that's what this movie suffers from. If you're a Gucci fan and you know the history and you know the family and you know the people and you know the company and what it stands for, you're like, it's everything you wanted. The soundtrack is super kitschy. Like, to me, like some of the songs are like, I don't understand why this works or fits. And my friend was like, it totally works and fits. It's exactly what it should have been. One of the songs actually, towards the end of the movie, they actually incorporate Les Mis' Bring Him Home into the final sequence. And I'm just like, why does this fit here? I don't understand. And it's just an instrumental version of it. But at the end of the day, I think the problem is that I literally visually experienced an audible book. It was a straightforward telling of the story with no real moviness to it. It was literally like someone picked up the book and narrated it and people walked around and acted the parts of the narration. And it was just kind of boring, to be honest.
Yeah, you're making it sound real sexy. To me, it looks like Dallas meets Dynasty meets Super Mario Brothers in terms of levels of cheese. So what's the tone here? What's the tone?
The tone is literally you're following around Patrizia and just her like, you know, backwater, like how does she work her way into this family, and then what does she do to make the family kind of fall apart and, you know, the company, and try to take over and do the things she needs to do. And it's all very good stuff, right? It's like you said, it's Dallas, it's Dynasty, it all kind of fits. At the same point, it's just kind of like do it faster. Let's go faster.
I get that. What's the tone though? You're not answering my question. What is the tone? Is it is it a comedy? Is it a straightforward drama?
No.
Is it?
That's why it's frustrating, because there's lines that are delivered that are just hysterical. There are sequences that are delivered that are just freaking cold ass. Like, oh my God, like did that just happen? Because that's just cold, super cold. And so it wavers between, the issue is that it doesn't have a tone because it's literally real life. You're watching real life happen. Real life has ups, real life has downs, real life has experiences, real life has laughter, real life has sadness, real life has murder. So at the end of the day, it's like it's representative of real life. But at the same time, it's like I could have read the book and I probably would have had more fun because I could have used my imagination reading the book, where this felt like I didn't have to use my imagination at all.
Fair enough. Well, you mentioned the cast, and I want to point out all the people that are in this because this has a stellar cast. So it has born star Lady Gaga, Adam, who puts the D in driver, Jeremy, I Want to Be This Decade's Michael Caine, Irons, Salma, Vroom Vroom Hayek, Al, Woo-ha, Pacino, and Jared, I Never Should Have Been the Joker, Leto. Did they all deliver? Because I've heard a lot of great things about the cast themselves, despite whatever you think about the movie.
Like, everybody's great. They show up, they play the roles, they embody the people that they are representing in every way, shape, and form. And they all work well off of each other, and they all work great together. I think the story just suffers. It's just not interesting. But they deliver the hell out of the performances for sure.
So if $10 is full price of admission, what do you give House of Gucci?
6.
It doesn't feel like it was a 6 based on what you just said. It was too long. It was like a half hour too long,
but it's a good story. I mean, the story is good. The idea of the concept of the story is good. It just and the acting is good, and the costumes are good, and the songs they do pick for the score are actually really good songs. So like it all just kind of works. It's just long.
So if this gets nominated for a bunch of awards, will you be surprised?
I guess it depends. If it's all staunch boomer people that are actually doing the nominations, then yeah, it'll probably get nominations. If it's a bunch of millennials doing the nominations, there's no way it's going to get nominated for anything because the millennials aren't going to watch it. It's the same problem.
And they should be nominating The Last Duel if they're going to nominate one of the movies.
For sure. Like Last Duel is like far and above House of Gucci in all categories.
Every single respect.
Yeah.
All right. Now we're going to go to Agnes, which Amanda and I saw at Fantasia Fest. So we're going to go to that.
And this is a film that Aaron caught. It's about the overflowing floral arrangements, taxidermied lions, and frosted cakes serve as the backdrop for this dreamy film about a priest and a neophyte sent to investigate rumors of demonic possession at a convent.
Or a convent.
Convent. That's the word. That's the word I'm looking for.
Two different things. Although now I kind of want to see that version too.
The odd pairing matches a descendant. Oh my God, I can't talk today.
A descendant of a priest? That's even better. This movie's changing by the second. We're doing fantastic.
Get me out of here. The odd pairing matches a dissident priest with a bright-eyed, innocent Benjamin, both of whom will be met with temptation as the strange goings on at the convent test their faith and that of a specific nun, Agnes.
I like how as you went on, you started just doing a word at a time to make sure.
I'm trying not to mess this all up, man.
Okay.
Like we're at the beginning, and I've already ruined the entire podcast.
I think for sure. I think if they're listening, that's Amanda at thehollywoodoutsider.com.
Oh God, this is embarrassing.
Just letting you know.
One of the things that I was really excited about with this film, and unfortunately didn't get a chance to see it, but Molly C. Quinn is in this film, and she was one of the leads in Castle with Nathan Fillion. And she was always one of those standout actresses in the show that I was like, God, I love her energy and the way she performs and everything about her. Is she just as, because she was kind of like a bright light in the TV show, but this is about like darkness and possession and nuns. Am I getting that vibe here from her or no?
Yeah, and it's not about her 100%. I mean, she's a primary factor, and she's not Agnes, just to let you know. Spoiler alert, I don't know, but Haley McFarland is actually Agnes. Molly C. Quinn she plays Mary, who's a nun. Man, it's tricky because where the film goes, I don't want to spoil anything for people that eventually will see it. But yes, it starts very much as priests who are investigating a possible demonic possession and how they address it. And there are underlying issues, crisis of faith, that sort of thing. And then it kind of flows into a different kind of movie as it goes on. So I will say, like, if you think it's going to be The Conjuring, it is not. It is not a straight up horror movie. It is more a life experience through the eyes of a nun story.
Oh, okay.
Kind of. It really takes different paths. And I really don't want to say too much because if you were to ever see it, I want you to be able to experience it without heavy spoilers. But Melanie C. Quinn's character is kind of a minor character in the front half and becomes a more primary character in the back half. In fact, she mostly carries the back half of the film. And yes, she's very good. It was nice to see her in a more adult role where she actually got to, because her character goes through some layers and she got to play with that a little bit, which was nice. And I was a Castle fan too, so it was good to see her evolving as an actress, or at least being able to demonstrate her evolution.
Awesome. So if the full price of admission were $10, what are you giving Agnes?
I give it about $5.50. The ending didn't really click for me. I think it might be different for other people. Other people might find, roads may vary, that sort of thing. Sean Gunn's in it. He drops by in a small role, but a very pivotal role. And that's very interesting. I found some of the other quirkier characters, Chris Browning, he plays Father Black, who's kind of this priest who's almost like a rolling stone. He's like a rock and roll priest, and he's fun, but it's a very small role. So there's a lot of fun stuff here, a lot of which I can't say without really ruining the film, but I will say it is a very non-linear. I would call it non-linear because the events that happen aren't necessarily in the order you would expect them to happen in. And it doesn't follow a traditional screenplay trajectory. So I enjoyed the film overall. The ending is a little less impactful than I would have preferred or had stronger closure, I think, for me personally. But I do think if you're interested just in whatever the hell I've been saying while I'm trying to avoid all the spoilers, I think you should check out Agnes whenever you can.
Awesome.
And now we move on to our final two questions. John, it's your discussion topic. Let's roll, man. Let's hear what you got.
All right. So I started thinking about this when I read this article just this week where there were people who were trying to describe their experience of watching Cowboy Bebop, and in which what they said about Cowboy Bebop was that it is nothing more than just a trussed up CW show, which is false, categorically false. However, the reason why I was thinking about this is this a great way to describe the quality of something by using something else as a way to
disparage
describe it to somebody, or is it just a lazy way to insult two things at one time?
Let me ask you this question first, because I know nothing about Cowboy Bebop.
Mm-hmm.
Is Cowboy Bebop's portrayal on it's on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Does the show have a bunch of 20-something to maybe early 30-somethings playing high school aged characters?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So then why would they say it's a CW show?
Or a comic book show, which it is not.
Well, maybe that's the
which
reference. Maybe they're feeling it's like CW comic, like the DC universe, versus like when you say CW show, I think of 20-year-olds playing 15-year-olds having sex all the time.
Well, yes. That's kind of what you can say about CW shows, or it's but my point is that, I think when it comes to criticism of something and or giving a critique, do you think it's appropriate to give it a critique by saying, oh, well, it's just one of these things over here that I equally don't like, and that's all it is? Isn't that, why shouldn't you be able to classify or at least describe the reasons why you don't like something? Or is it just jumping to the easiest way possible, just lazy, or what?
It is definitely lazy. It is definitely,
Yeah.
But it's the modern era. How many times do we ask somebody an opinion in some kind of message board and they respond with a GIF? Like, people don't even go through the trouble of actually typing a response anymore. And John, you're guilty of this too. Just to clarify.
I beat you to it.
So, I think it's just let's go to the quickest example, because I don't really want to spend a ton of time discussing things, even though people want to respond and people love to have their opinion tossed around. They don't really want to dissect it and break it down. which is sad because I think we all should do that. I mean, that's the whole point of this podcast is kind of like to break down opinions, right? Every podcast. And I agree, it's lazy. It drives me nuts. On the same token, I usually get what people are saying when they say something like that. I agree with Troy. If somebody says a CW show, I'm like, okay, so it's either like a bunch of 30-year-olds acting like 15-year-olds, and maybe there's a futuristic setting, or it's a DC Universe-esque show, which means we want to be a superhero show, but we don't really want to spend money for it. That's kind of what I get if somebody says a CW show, and I think both of those things are fair if that was the same kind of show. Now with Cowboy Bebop, I think it's just lazy completely because I don't see either of those things being reflected in that. I would say more like honestly, it's kind of a unique thing, really. So, maybe it's just people can't think of anything else to refer to it as. But yeah, it is definitely lazy. People should put more thought into it. I can't tell you how much it drives me nuts when I ask them, but this is a personal thing of mine. When people post that they're going to see a movie, right? And all they say is, going to see this, whatever it is. I'm going to see House of Gucci, whatever it is. And then never reflect back on what they thought of the movie. I don't care that you made a date night. Tell me what you gained from that. If you want to come back to it and then edit your post or whatever later, fine. But if you just say, "What? Checking this out. Can't wait. Cool. What'd you think?" Because otherwise, what do I care? What do I care that you left your house? I want to know what you thought of the thing that you left your house for. Elaborate. You thought it was important enough to mention, so tell me what you thought of the thing that you saw that you were so excited about. Because I love to hear what people think, especially when they're excited about something, because if they're disappointed, well, maybe I will be disappointed, and that might put me off of it a little bit. Or if they confirm the excitement, I might be even more excited. So I want to hear the thoughts. I don't want to hear the non-thoughts, because you're just wasting everybody's time at that point. You know what I mean?
I think the closest thing I get to that these days is if I really love something, I'll post about it. I watched this, go watch it.
But at least there's something in that I can take from it. He liked it.
Oh yeah.
When people I can't tell you how, and it happens every single day, not just in the Hollywood Outsider group, but definitely in the Hollywood Outsider group. But I definitely don't want to single out anybody that's in that group. Thank you for, being in that group. But I see it on everything, Twitter. I see it read everywhere, every social media thing. I'm checking this out. And then you never hear from them again about what they saw. And it just drives me nuts because I don't care that you left your house. I care what you think about the thing that you left your house for.
I think that happens a lot too, because I know I'm guilty of that, because every time I see a procedural show, one and done, doesn't have anything that hooks you into next week, it's a standalone, turn my brain off for 44 minutes, I immediately say it's a CBS show.
That's true. You do. Yeah.
But
I get it. I do get it though. But those references do work.
But do they, I guess the question is, do they actually work though? Because it works with us because we watch so much stuff, but to a general person, it's not going to work. Right.
Right. For a general person, that's not going to work. But saying something like it's a CBS show, that's exactly where you're going to go if you're in your 60s and you want to just spend some time with noise on television. That's just,
I don't want to think about 4 weeks ago. I don't know what's going to happen 4 weeks from now. I need this thing to end today.
But it's also not insulting. I thought the way they were describing the whole it was the way they were describing it was that is as CW was an insult, and it's beyond me, because CW has had some sleeper hits. It has had some great content.
John.
Huh?
I said preach.
Oh, okay. So calling the entire network as a whole as garbage and insulting its content by then by using it as a reason why something is garbage is just lazy to me. Because what if somebody says, Cowboy Bebop, it's a CW show, and that person loves a lot of things on CW show, but they don't understand that you're being shitty about it. That's just,
maybe you should.
I feel like it's a simple-minded insult.
Right, and especially coming from I think it was a Vanity Fair or something, or some sort of article like that I read that did that, and
this is a major publication.
It was a major publication.
That's lazy writing. Then I thought
journalism has become so absurd, though.
I can't stand journalism anymore, and I write.
I was going to say you're a writer.
Yeah, I write. I don't consider it journalism anymore. It just, God, that makes me, now I'm a little bit angrier about your whole topic. I thought it was just people that you knew that were saying that.
Oh no, I'm talking about major publications that do this sort
That's
of
just
thing.
tacky.
That
I could see us doing that because we're like half serious, half jokes half the time. I'm not saying they're funny, but we try.
Right.
But you're writing an article for a major publication. You should be a frickin' writer. You know,
Right.
Like I can write. It's not hard. I'll be honest. As a writer, it's really easy to write sarcastic and kind of like mean spirited things like that. That's easy. That is lazy writing. That's not complicated. I thought you were just talking about like commenters and stuff. If you're talking about actual quote unquote journalists, you should be thankful you got a job there. And I realize they're doing all they can for clicks, and they'll probably have like 20,000 followers on Twitter, but it's not because of anything they've done. It's because they have a major publication behind them. And that just drives me nuts that's what you're doing with it. You lazy shit.
That's probably owned by Viacom.
Isn't everything? Or Disney. Or Warner Brothers.
Netflix ain't.
Yep. Or not.
That's why everybody's mad at him.
That's true. That's why everybody hates him. God, that bugs me. What kind of review is that? I mean, that feels like, are you just going for clicks? Are you just going for, because this will get you shared because somebody's going to agree with this cheap attack?
Yeah, it's weird because like if I heard that review, I'm immediately thinking it's targeted for 18 to 35-year-olds with pretty people that may have some fun kick-ass superhero action. And that might not be anything that Cowboy Bebop is about.
It's not. It's
But
really
that's
like
what the review told me.
It's like Fancy Firefly.
It's like Firefly if it was cool.
Firefly is cool,
Well,
dickhead. So
let's
now
hope-
you're officially in the Vanity Fair guys corner.
Let's hope Netflix actually accidentally aired one of the episodes out of order when they loaded it up to the service, and then we can call it a Fox show and we'll be all set.
That'd be great.
One of the episodes, that'd be kind. I think all of the episodes are out of order.
They are kind of all over the place from what I've seen. I've seen 3, I think. Huh. Well, did we answer your question, or would you like to discuss further?
I think we covered.
Would you like to know
Amanda,
more?
do you have anything you want to say?
Well, I mean, no, not really. I kind of said what I had to say about it. It's shitty journalism. It's simple-minded insults.
All right, we can move on.
Okay.
Aaron?
All right, well, here's mine. I want you to pick, and I'm sorry, my allergies are killing me today, so if I sound stuffy, that's why. Pick your all-time favorite actor or director, either one. But just one, Amanda, just one. And tell us what it is about that one person that speaks to you.
Well, I picked Billy Crystal. I always thought he was great in Harry Met Sally, Running Scared. But it was when I saw City Slickers.
Hang on, you get points just for mentioning Running Scared because nobody ever mentions Running Scared. It's my favorite Billy Crystal movie. Yes, more so than when Harry Met Sally.
It is so good. Like, I don't understand why people don't mention it.
I love
It's
that.
so good.
All the times they torture Snake, I just love it.
Yes. But no, City Slickers is when I was just kind of like, I want Billy Crystal to be my dad,
Aw.
my uncle. Like, I don't know what it is about him, but I just, at the time I saw City Slickers, I completely resonated with the character because I was in doing radio advertising. So when he's all like, I sell air, I was like, I get it, man. It's hard. Like, good for you. Like, this sucks. I hate this job. And when you just sitting there trying to figure out like, what the hell are you going to do with your life? And where's the joy? And like, it was just, that movie resonated with me when he goes in and jumps in the river and saves Norman, the cow. And
So good.
he just finds like his purpose. And I was like, yes, that's my purpose. Like, I want to be able to sacrifice myself to save other people. Like, I just want to make other people's lives better. That's why I'm on this planet, whatever it takes. And
That's
like,
why you're podcasting.
yeah, like,
It works. Yeah.
yeah, like if I can make someone else smile today, if I can, make someone feel better from a post I put on Facebook or Instagram, or, just make one person smile just a little bit more, it's a good day for me. I like it.
And that's why Troy writes philosophy books on
I do write
Facebook.
philosophy books a lot. At least this year, I've really started to write a lot more. And it's just this introspectiveness of it all. Just, this is what, it means to be an actor who can craft a character so well that when you sit and think about whatever you go to in a dark place at night, because you're, by yourself and your, mind is racing or whatever, you just come back to that central moment and go like, what would Billy Crystal do in this moment right now?
Do you still do that?
Sometimes. Like, it's
That's very
weird because
sweet.
like I haven't gone back and watched City Slickers in probably 10 years. I might actually go do that this weekend now that I think about it.
Now I'm
But,
gonna.
like, But that movie is just, I don't know. There's something about that movie that's just magical.
Totally agree. And Jack Palance was wonderful in that movie too. Kind of like, he's the guy you just kind of look up to. I mean, even though you think he's a crazy, probably going to kill him kind of guy at some point, by the end, he's just a really warm individual.
So my favorite actor, I didn't know director was an option, but my favorite actor is Tom Hanks. And
I didn't know that.
It's weird because there's a lot of actors that I've really enjoyed, or, I have moments where I'm like, this is my favorite actor right now or something. They're just really speaking to me, or they're doing a lot of really cool projects that I'm interested in. But and this took a while for me to figure out because I guess I've never landed on a favorite actor until probably a year ago when I was actually reflecting on this topic itself for myself. And I just came to terms, like, who's an actor that I will automatically go see the movie, who never disappoints me, who just gives it their all, who has range. And it just came back to Tom Hanks. I seriously can't think of a single movie that's genuinely disappointed me from his talent. And Big was probably the first one where I was like, I love this guy. I know, like, most people would probably say like Forrest Gump or Apollo or something like that, but for me, it was Big, and I just loved seeing that he could do so much. Because I obviously didn't see it right when it came out, so I had seen a lot of his films in different orders than somebody who was maybe brought up in the 70s and grew up with Tom Hanks. I grew up with him too. I just grew up with him differently. So, coming from, this is the Toy Story guy for me, to all of the different films that he did, Saving Private Ryan, oh my God. And everything he's done just wowed me. And I don't know, I just have always loved him as a human being. He just seems so genuine and kind and sweet. And he has range like nobody's business. He can go in anything, and he's going to show everyone else up.
Literally one of the funniest guys ever, I think. I mean, in the 80s, he was in comedies, but predominantly comedies, and they were hysterical. The Burbs is one of my favorite movies. Nothing in Common is one of the most, will hit me in the parts at all times. He can rap. Many people don't know this, but he rapped in Dragnet. See that, Streetback? We're just in time. We have stumbled into a major. I can do the whole song. I really can. I listened to it so many times. It's a great actor to pick, and I can see why anybody would be a major fan of his, because he literally is a guy that you can follow into any kind of movie and be behind him immediately.
Except for Forrest Gump, because I'm bitter to this day with Forrest Gump.
Why are you bitter?
Why?
Because Andy Dufresne got chipped because Shawshank Redemption is the best movie ever. And it should have won Best Picture that year. Forrest Gump was not good enough to be Best Picture over Shawshank Redemption.
Disagree. That I agree that Shawshank is a fantastic movie. I think Forrest Gump is a fantastic and a creative movie. But Tom Hanks deserved that Oscar that year, because there's not a ballsier
I didn't say Tom Hanks didn't
performance.
deserve Best Actor. I'm saying the movie Best Picture.
I don't agree with that.
Should have gone to Shawshank.
I mean, I get the argument, but
I actually agree with Troy on this one.
good for you. I don't.
I not to say that I don't
don't.
love both of them, because they're both incredible films, and I think Tom Hanks still deserves Best Actor. But in terms of Best Film, and one that I go back to more often, it's more Shawshank Redemption. I think they both have their merits and their perks, and I don't think that there's a loss for either of them winning, though.
Yeah. As they said, get busy living or get busy dying.
I'm not bitter about
Die,
it, though.
Forrest, die.
I just want to know if Forrest ever got his AIDS test.
No.
I mean, I always get concerned about that. Like, what really happened at the end of that movie?
He's still sitting on the park bench. That's what happened.
John, you're with me on Forrest Gump, though?
I'm with you, Forrest Gump. It's much more creative, much more imaginative, and just everything about it was just it left you feeling beautiful on the inside.
Yeah.
Shawshank just makes me want to break out of something.
Yeah. Prison, relationships, banks.
Same thing sometimes.
Oh,
Full circle. All right, John, who's your actor?
I had a real big problem with this because over the years I've kind of like disavowed myself from the idea of having an actor that I will go see for absolutely anything. Used to be Nicolas Cage, it used to be this person or that person, but I think the one person who over the years has managed to stick with me as far as somebody that I'll go back to as far as just to feel good about something, or just to like when I'm feeling contemplative about something. It's Tom Selleck, oddly.
Really? The stash?
Really? I didn't expect that at all.
Nobody expected that at all. Everyone listening is like, what?
And 10% of the listeners are like, who's that?
Ooh,
Yeah.
That's probably fair.
Like there's just something about when you watch an old Magnum episode and just listening to him talk to you the whole episode through as he's doing whatever it is. There's just something about that is comforting to me, and it's something that brings me it helps me get into that frame of mind in which I have to like work something out of for myself. And or later on you get him in Blue Bloods, which I just went through a whole rewatch of Blue Bloods because why not?
That's a lot of shows.
It really is. And his character on Blue Bloods he's not perfect by any measure of the word perfect, but he is somebody who works very hard at being fair and looking at things from as many viewpoints as he possibly can before he comes up with a decision on something. And it's something that I trying to instill in myself a lot more, is being able to measure all the different viewpoints as much as possible before I make my own decision on something, before going into something half-cocked or whatever. There's just something about him that's just so, still to this day. I've always said this, that he's like my TV dad. When it came to being adventures, like Magnum helped, Quickly Down Under, all that stuff was great for me.
Those Jesse Stone movies, I love those when he was doing those.
Those Jesse Stone movies are fantastic. Yeah. He's definitely a flawed character in those movies, and yet there's something so that sets you at ease as far as watching him go through his own personal struggles and everything in that, as that character. So he's just great.
It's so weird because I've always loved him as an actor, but I've also had an uncomfortableness when I see him to a degree, because my mother used to talk about how much she wanted to hump Tom Selleck.
Oh, uncomfy.
Yeah, so
she's like, I want to rub on that chest hair.
It's the mustache, and I mean, she was just all
She's
about
trying to take a ride.
Tom Selleck. Jesus Christ. It was always very. I got nothing, Amanda. Yeah, I think you just stopped me from anything I wanted to say for that. But okay, yeah. So that's what I. Anyway, I like Tom Selleck. It was a great choice.
Is his career officially stopped? Is he officially halted?
No, Blue Bloods is still on.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think it's probably his most successful TV show at this point. Like, it's more successful than Magnum.
Yeah.
It was on longer.
Mm-hmm.
But he's known for Magnum and as being the poor guy that couldn't play Indiana Jones, which sucked for him.
That sucked for him a lot.
Sucked for him.
And he got to play against Gene Simmons in Runaway.
Oh, I'm sure that was his dream. He's looking at all this Harrison Ford money passing him by. He's just like, great, but I can be in a movie with The Kiss dude. Yay. Yeah. My favorite actor is obvious for anybody that's ever listened to the show. My favorite actor is Kurt Russell. And I mean, I think to pick anybody else would be kind of insulting to the whole core of this podcast, I would think. But
the core of this podcast is Kurt Russell.
He's at the core of it. Yeah. There's my mother and Kurt Russell are at the core of how this thing even got started. My love for both and movies. There is something about Kurt Russell as an actor, as a person, that has always, for whatever reason, connected with me. And I think the thing that I love most about him is I can look at any point in my life and there is a Kurt Russell movie that was very important to me during that time. And that sounds weird, but I mean, that's how long he's been in the game.
No, not at all.
He's literally every single important section of my life. There is a Kurt Russell film that really spoke to me for some reason. I can go back to Escape from New York and how impactful that was to me growing up and just my expanding my love of science fiction and that sort of thing. Tango and Cash, just the whole friendship with him and Stallone. I absolutely love that dynamic, and how smart he is. Big Trouble in Little China. That's another section of my life. Then you can go into Breakdown and like his thriller subgenre he was doing in the 90s. And then, even to today, Hateful Eight is a very important movie for me in terms of my family, because my whole family went and saw the big fancy extended edition in theaters on Christmas Day. It was like a beautiful moment with my family. So, I mean, like, Kurt Russell is connected to me in ways that no other actor is. And I love a lot of actors, but there's nobody like him. And I think it's just his genuineness in terms of his performances. His ability to always seem relatable no matter what character even Snake Plissken feels relatable to some degree, because I have a lot of anarchy in me that I try to contain most of the time. I can't obviously express it, but Snake kind of represents that in many respects. Like, he's the anti-authority guy. That speaks to me on so many levels. But whatever role he's playing, I can also feel empathetic to that character. It's amazing to me. I just recently watched Death Proof, right? Or Grindhouse, the second movie in Grindhouse, whichever way you want to look at it. He's Stuntman Mike, if you've never seen it. He's a killer. He basically targets women and then murders him by vehicular assault. It's a horrific thing that he does. It's like a horrible, horrible, just disgusting way that he chooses to kill people. And still, throughout that movie, he found ways to make me empathize with that character. And I don't think many actors could do that. I really, really don't believe many actors can do that. I think he does it just by being him. He can show up. He can be the most despicable character you see in the entire movie, but you feel for him because it's Kurt Russell, and you just feel, he just makes you feel better. There's just something about him. He has that rare charisma that instantly makes you feel better when he's there. I mean, nobody was taken aback when he was Santa Claus, because Santa Claus makes you feel better. Kurt Russell makes you feel better. This seems like a perfect fit. Everything he does really works for me. And I can't think of anything where I've ever disliked him in anything. Even when he's been in bad movies, he's never been bad in movies.
He's the cool guy. That's how I see him. He's always super suave and cool. Except for in Guardians of the Galaxy.
He's still cool in that. You're still kind of like, even at the end, I'm like, he wants to destroy the universe, and I'm still okay with him.
It was a little, I don't know. I thought that was one of his more cheesy performances.
I loved it. Still loved it. There's not much wrong.
I really liked Christmas Chronicles with him.
And I think it also helps that I've never heard anyone in behind the scenes or interviews I've never heard anyone say a bad word about Kurt Russell. You see his relationship. He's even though he's private, he lets you see some of it. You can tell that his stepkids love him as their dad. I mean, there's just like everything. I don't see anything bad. Like, if someone ever came to me and told me some horrible story about Kurt Russell, I think it might impact me. Like, I'm not you, but I'm pretty sure it would impact you. It would be very, very hard. I mean, it would be crushing, because I just see him almost like I don't want to say like a father figure, but maybe like a father figure. Like, I kind of looked up to him my whole life.
And also secretly wanted to bang him.
I think you're taking it a little far, but I wouldn't be overboard.
I mean, you're the one who's always talking about how sexy and hot he is with different words.
All right. So that's going to do it with my actor. I think I've done all I can do there. So now we're going to go to our upcoming releases, and why don't you guys tell us what's coming out? And I'm going to go here, stand in the corner and be ashamed of myself.
Well, the first one coming out is getting great reviews. West Side Story. Two youngsters from rival New York City gangs fall in love, but tensions between their respective friends build toward tragedy. This comes out on December 10th. You can see it in theaters. It is, like I said, it's already getting some good feedback.
Yeah, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing a musical for the first time. Be interesting.
We also have on December 10th coming to Netflix, The Unforgivable with Sandra Bullock, Viola Davis, and Vincent D'Onofrio. A woman is released from prison after serving a sentence for a violent crime and re-enters a society that refuses to forgive her past. This sounds really interesting. I'm curious how they'll take this. I'm sure there's a number of people who can relate to this because our society is not kind to returning citizens.
Ouch.
Truth.
And then on December 17th, we have what everyone's been excited about, but me and
Except
Aaron,
Aaron.
of course. Spider-Man: No Way Home. And if you don't know what that movie's about, you can just stay underneath that rock you're living in. On December 17th, we also have on Hulu, Mother/Android. Georgia and her boyfriend Sam go on a treacherous journey to escape their country, which is caught in an unexpected war with artificial intelligence. This always ends well, I'll tell you. Days away from the arrival of their first child, the couple must face no man's land, a stronghold of Android uprising in the hopes of reaching safety. This is written and directed by Matheson Tomlin and stars Chloe Grace Moretz, Steven Robertson, and Oscar Wahlberg.
Can I just jump in there a little bit? People keep giving me grief that I'm not excited enough, apparently, for Spider-Man No Way Home. So therefore, I am negative about the film or the concept. Shut up, because that's nonsense. Spider-Man is literally my favorite character of all time. And you can kiss my ass because I'm just tired of hearing about it. Just because I don't jump on the teat of Marvel every time they make a movie doesn't mean that it's negative. The Marvel Cinematic Universe Spider-Man has not been historically the comic book version. It's a different the I love Tony Stark, want to be Tony Stark. It's not Peter Parker. The second movie got a little closer to being who Peter Parker is. Maybe the third movie will get even closer. I don't know. But shut the hell up and stop telling me that it's negative because I'm just tired of hearing about it. You're being negative. Done.
Yeah, all we commented on was the trailer, which the trailer was literally Doctor Strange for 80% of the trailer.
Yes, much like Tony Stark was a very prominent part of Homecoming and then somehow factored into the sequel prominently. So, yeah, I would like Spider-Man to have his own goddamn movie. I don't think that's negative. That's hopeful.
I don't think you're asking for too much here when you say, hey, the character whose name is in the title, can we just have it be about that guy?
Yes. Could we please? Oh, now he's dealing with the loss of Tony Stark. And maybe in the next trilogy, he'll be searching for the next Iron Man. I don't know. Just let him have his own goddamn movie. Jesus Christ. All right.
Well, maybe you'll get lucky and you'll get all 4 Spider-Man in the same movie.
Maybe. Andrew Garfield's
How do you feel about that?
About having all of Spider-Man?
Yeah.
If it brings Toby back, I'm good with that. Or Andrew Garfield. I think he's a better Spider-Man. Yeah, I said it. Toby's the best Peter Parker. Andrew Garfield's the best Spider-Man. Tom Holland's fine.
He's fine.
He's much better in the second movie, and he was great in Endgame. No, Infinity War. I'm sorry, Infinity War, because he really did pull at the heartstrings in Infinity War. He gets better every movie. So I'm hoping this third one will be great. It just like you got 47 villains flying around. You got Doctor Strange, who obviously is going to take up a lot of screen time. It's okay to be concerned about that when I want to see a Spider-Man movie. I'm fine with other heroes because that happens in the comics. But also in the comics, Spider-Man comics are typically about Spider-Man. Just saying. Bitches.
And
Tell us how you really feel.
All right, Troy, what else we got?
Well, Nightmare Alley is also coming on December 17th. It's the second film adaptation of the 1946 book of the same name, and this iteration has us focusing on Stan Carlisle, played by Bradley Cooper. An ambitious Carney hooks up with a corrupt psychiatrist, Dr. Lilith Ritter, who is played by Kate Blanchett.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be no supernatural undertones.
Right. Kate Blanchett actually gets in a little bit of trouble because it turns out that Stan Carlisle is not actually all that it's cracked up to be, but the cast for this is stellar. Toni Collette, Willem Dafoe, Richard Jenkins, Rooney Mara, Ron Perlman, Mary Steenburgen, David Strathairn.
Oof, love it.
I mean, huge, and directed by Guillermo del Toro. So this one should be on your December 17th weekend list for sure.
Definitely.
And then if you prefer actually just sticking around at home and watching stuff on the streaming services, you can watch Swan Song that weekend over on Apple TV. Set in the near future, Swan Song is a powerful emotional journey told through the eyes of Cameron, played by Mahershala Ali, a loving husband and father who is expecting his second child when his wife Poppy, played by Naomi Harris, When Cameron is diagnosed with a terminal illness, he is presented with an alternative solution by his doctor, played by Glenn Close, to shield his family from grief. It's written and directed by Benjamin Clearly.
And I don't understand with that one how they kept that name, because there's another movie literally this year called Swan Song that already came out. So can you try to distinguish yourself a little bit?
I hate when they don't just do a Google search to like figure out
seriously.
what movies are coming out and pick a different title, especially if it's movies that are like within the certain, like a similar time frame. It drives me nuts, especially when I'm trying to Google and figure out the one movie
Right.
and then the other one always shows up and I'm like, wait a second, that can't be right.
And
It's one thing when it's Swan Song 1996 versus Swan Song 2021, but when it's Swan Song
exactly
Swan Song 20
Song Song?
fast. Swan Song 2021 and Swan Song 2021, it makes it a little bit more challenging.
Plus, and Udo Kier,
How many times can you say that without? How much wood could a woodchuck chuck with it?
obviously you can't even do it
You
once.
couldn't even do
You
it
can't even
once.
say that part.
Can't do it. I couldn't do either. I switched gears halfway through. My brain said, you know what, just keep
And
going.
the one earlier from this year with Udo Kier is a good movie and really, really kind of charming and sweet and tragic, all wrapped up into one. And I feel like Apple TV is going to get all the press because the other Swan Song is very much an indie. And now I think it's going to kind of hurt that film, which sucks. You know, I never want to see an indie hurt like that. Any recent film or TV recommendations not previously discussed? I will mention I saw Pig, which is also on Hulu. It's been heralded as one of the best movies of the year. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do think it's a very good movie where Nicolas Cage plays a truffle farmer, essentially. He's got a truffle pig and somebody steals his truffle pig and he goes out trying to get it. That's not a John Wick movie, though. I feel like the trailer kind of sets it up to be seen as it's going to be a John Wick kind of revenge flick. Not what it is. It's very much a movie. A guy is very adamant that he needs to get this pig back, but it's more of a study on grief and how people deal with grief, which I'm not going to go too much into it because it's really about the journey on that one. I would definitely recommend it, though. It's a very movie.
So I've watched a lot of things, and I also haven't been on this podcast, I feel like, in forever. Dexter, the revival New Blood, is
good.
doing really well. I'm actually quite surprised and pleasantly really enjoying it. So I would encourage you, if you liked Dexter before, regardless of how you felt about the ending, to give this a chance and check it out on Showtime. They do like 30-day free trials, so just try it out, man. Clickbait was actually really good. It was on Netflix. If you didn't catch that,
that was really good.
Yes, I was really surprised by it, especially with how the story turned out. But it's essentially about this man who is, there's a video that goes out where he's holding a sign that says that he hurts women and that he killed someone. And it's kind of like a true crime researching sort of thing happens behind the scenes from the family to figure out what's the real story here, who did this, who killed this man. And I was really, really happy with the ending. And it also stars, and forgive me, I can't remember her name, but she was the girl.
Zoe Kazan.
Yes, from The Big Sick.
Yep.
She
I love
was
her.
amazing. She was great. So I really encourage you to check that out. I've been watching Big Sky. I know that's probably not for everybody, but I'm enjoying that. I'm also really sad that Ryan Phillippe is not in it as much as I thought he would be.
Yeah, he's not.
Really sad.
You must be in the first season.
Yeah.
I am. I have no idea how much there is, but yeah, I was very sad about that.
You'll have to let me know how that progresses, because I gave up after the initial thing finished.
I'm still watching.
Shit.
I'm still watching. It's good.
I'm not watching it.
That's not encouraging. Cowboy Bebop, I'm really enjoying. I didn't see the original anime, so I can't compare it to that, but everything I've heard is that it is pretty close to the original. But it is so fun, and the action's great, and the chemistry is awesome. It is very like modern neon Firefly. So check it out.
It is so beautiful. The show, that whole show was just a Netflix really knocked it out of the park with that one.
Absolutely. And then Tick, Tick, Boom. I know you guys already talked about it, but I loved that movie. Like, loved it.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
I was sobbing through most of the film. Again, my emotions run very deep these days, but it was so touching, and it the storytelling was so beautiful, and you could really connect with Andrew Garfield's character while also recognizing, he's got his own flaws. And I think we've all been there where we've been so focused on something that we lose sight of everything else. And that, really spoke to me in a lot of different ways, but loved that film.
We're usually on the same page. I don't understand how you cried through the whole thing.
Oh my God, I don't know.
I got misty-eyed at like one part, but...
Don't be judgy.
Yeah, the very end was, the whole thing was just very beautiful. I watched Tick, Tick, Boom as well, and I thought it was a beautiful, beautiful movie. Just something else that Netflix really just knocked it out of the park with. Like, Netflix is doing really well lately. Something else they did pretty well with was Arcane, which is based off of the Riot video game company's property of League of Legends, where they took essentially three or four characters from that game and built a whole story around those three characters. And the animation was beautiful. They essentially, what they did was they took 3D animation and did painted on skins, is the only way to really describe it. And those painted on skins really were I'm not really always a big fan of 3D animation, but because of you can see brush strokes on the skin tones, and you can see this, that, or the other. It had so much emotionality to the actual creation of the piece you're looking at, that it really helped tell the story and had a great effect. The story itself was interesting and fun at times, but really kind of made you sad as well, because it was a whole story about the relationship between these two sisters. Just I can't say enough good things about Arcane. The part 2 of Kevin Smith's produced He-Man story, which everyone keeps on talking about how it's kind of like a bait and switch, because they don't get a lot of He-Man, you get a lot more Tila out of it. The part 2 came out, and if you like the cartoon He-Man and you want to see something more in depth, go ahead and give this a watch. This has a lot of heart to it and had a lot of great things that they're doing with that. The animation is, I feel like, better than what the original He-Man cartoon did, which is not saying a lot, but it's pretty great. So that's what I watched.
I picked up The Morning Show Season 2 now that Season 2 has wrapped. So I'm going through the binge on Season 2, which obviously deals with the fallout of all the things that happened at the end of the first season and how the network is trying to recover from that as they approach the end of 2020 and the start of 2021, and building up to the release of the coronavirus and how they're going to cover that.
Ooh. Oh, you know what? I Red Notice. I haven't mentioned in all these podcasts in the last few weeks.
Oh, it was so good.
Oh, that was so good.
That was so good.
So good.
So good. That was like all-star charisma bomb. Just 3 people with fantastic personalities that just excelled at every end. Yeah. I mean, just honestly the best blockbuster I've seen this year, I think.
Yeah.
Well-rounded, well-acted, well-actioned, everything about it was
and
good.
insanely watched, apparently.
And Netflix apparently you're on a roll, man. Keep it up. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
love it.
Share your thoughts on this episode or anything else in our Facebook group, which is The Hollywood Outsider. Make sure you search for it because it's a private group. We're on Twitter @BuyPopcorn, and our site is TheHollywoodOutsider.com. You can please rate and subscribe us on your preferred podcast app. You can find John's artwork on Insta and Twitter @RJohnDraws, Amanda on Veronica's Marshmallows, which is back, and Smirkin @SinkIntoThis. Troy @Troy Heinrichs, and The Blacklist Exposed, and me, I'm Presenting Hitchcock, as well as The Blacklist Exposed. And I'm @Aaron Smirks on Twitter. Now, last thing, we're out of here. The real movie title game. This is really easy. Should be really simple. I'm sure we'll make it very complicated. Each host picks one movie, good or bad, doesn't matter, and gives it a title that reflects what the movie is actually really about, to see if the other ghosts or hosts, I don't know why I said ghosts, I must have an
it's
afterlife.
Still spooky season.
Something.
Boston
The other
feels good.
hosts can guess it. So, John, you go first. Give us a title that's more reflective of what the movie actually is, and we're going to see if we can guess what the movie is. First one to guess it right wins, by the way, each time.
I actually came up with 2 on this one, so I'm going to go with the more apolitical, I guess you'd call it, title for this.
Okay.
But what archaeologist dreams may come?
Jurassic Park.
I'm trying to think of Indiana Jones with dreams.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of as well.
Well, I mean, you got it with Indiana Jones, so.
Oh, it was Indiana Jones?
Where are the dreams?
Yeah, because
I thought that was too easy.
Well, there's no Indiana Jones, like just Indiana Jones. So like Raiders of the Lost Ark? Like what?
Like Raiders of the Lost Ark, but like, because Indiana Jones, like archaeologists think they're going to end up being Indiana Jones, but they don't ever actually become Indiana Jones. They become something else.
His dream came true. Right?
That was a little more philosophical than I think the game intended, but okay. All right.
Okay, so like my other
Hey,
title
you don't
was
get
White Guy
Are you Amanda now? You get honorable
No,
mentions
he
every
had an
5
alternative
seconds?
title to it.
I had an alternative title to
All
it.
right.
It's same movie,
dirty?
alternative title to it. White guy reappropriates relics that belong in museums from other countries and takes them home.
I like that one.
It's very
It doesn't
long.
fit on a reel.
That's a very long title.
Who cares?
All right, Amanda, what's yours?
Stealing Men.
Stealing. Is this about a cartel?
No.
Oh. Stealing?
Stealing the Man. Is that better? Does that help?
No.
Okay.
Stealing the man.
It's a romance.
Well, that's probably why I don't get it, because I don't understand romance.
You
I mean,
Your
clearly
wife
it's
says the
about,
same thing.
She would if I
it's
let her
about
speak.
stealing some.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Jesus Christ.
Not my best friend's wedding.
What? Did you say it?
My best friend's wedding?
Yes.
Oh,
The whole concept is her
sense.
trying to steal a dude
that makes sense.
from someone else.
Is she really trying to steal? I mean, she was there first, so technically she's trying to get what she already had the chance for.
No, she lost out on it,
Mm.
and he was getting married, and only then did she realize, oh, I guess I do love this guy. Let me just try to swoop him back.
Okay, Troy won.
Happens.
Troy won. Here's mine. Ready?
Ready.
2 assholes and a spray tanned corpse.
Weekend at Bernie's 2?
Yeah, I was going to say Bernie.
We get a Bernie's.
Why does it got to be 2? Why do you go to the sequel? Troy, you technically win because
he
you
needed the
said
spray
it.
tan because he was more dead in the second movie.
Jesus Christ!
Oh my God.
I just love that he goes to the sequel first. I don't get that. But you still technically won because you got Weekend at Bernie's. Yeah, that's it. Jesus
Good
Christ!
at this one. All right. We'll see,
All right, Troy.
See if you can get mine then.
Oh, we have to clear our throat for this.
Preaching rape.
Oh, Jesus, that went dark.
Preaching rape?
Preaching rape?
Preaching makes me think of like a priest or something.
Is there a Harvey Weinstein documentary?
There is.
Sorry, was that offensive?
No, he's a pretty horrible person, so it's okay.
Preaching the Shawshank Redemption?
Do you need a clue?
Yes.
Yeah.
The movie was actually mentioned on this very podcast already this evening.
So, Forrest Gump? Christmas Chronicles?
Inside Out.
Wow!
What?
What else did we talk
Oh
about?
my God. It's a horrible title, Troy, and I can't stop thinking what it could be. What other movies did we speak of?
We talked about Tom Hanks.
Uh-huh.
We talked about Billy Crystal.
City Slickers? No, that doesn't make sense. When Harry Met Sally?
No.
No, that doesn't make
No.
sense.
I'm trying to think of rape movies that we talked about today, but I don't
That did not
remember
come
any.
up. That did not come up.
Yeah.
Usually, I feel like I should have won this one.
You should. You usually would be the one that would come up with something like this.
Do you have another hint?
I don't know. Troy, you social justice warrior. Why, tell us what, give us a hint.
Tom
Okay, so it has to do with Tom Hanks.
or Holland.
Oh, or Holland.
Oh, Spider-Man, because it raped my childhood.
No. It's the
We did talk about this one.
Devil all the time. Devil all the time.
yes.
All the
Devil
time.
all the time.
Yes.
Jeez. But really, it could have been
So
Homecoming.
Aaron gets that one.
Yeah, he came up with the title.
He gets a half a point because we needed 2 hints, I think, for that one.
Yeah, I think I get a quarter of a point, honestly.
I was gonna say.
I mean, really, he kind of told me. It was one of these, we went through literally every movie we mentioned, and eventually we got there. I was pretty close to be like, Agnes! I don't know. I don't know.
I kept on trying to think of the word spotlight for spotlight.
It's Spotlight. It's literally Spotlight.
Right. I was like, what is that word for spotlight? God damn it.
All right,
My brain has done that before,
that's
too.
going to do it for this episode. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I hope that game came out better than it sounded to us. So remember, the next time you head to a theater, buy popcorn. You said rape twice.
Jesus. Don't. That's going to get taken out of context.
It's Blazing Saddles. It's a line.
I know, but there's going to be somebody who's like, Aaron said, because they've never seen the movie Blazing Saddles. Also, fun fact, that was also going to be the movie I selected for the game. I didn't want to go like too far off the handle with the title. So I tried to keep it PC and PG.
What were you going to call it? Were you going to call it? Because that would be awkward.
I figured during the reviews I'll take her out.
Okay. Here we go.
Well, I'm not doing shit during the reviews.
No,
That's right, because you don't see nothing.
I said okay. Right,
Hey, stop judging me, bitch.
That was aggressive.
It got uncomfortable.
Don't be aggressive. Don't be aggressive.
Be aggressive.
Troy is cheering. He's doing a cheer.
I would like it if you both would have some kind of pillow fight.
Who?
Not you, Amanda. Troy and
I was
going to
say this is awkward.
Troy
Don't
and
say
John.
that.
Rather
Pillow
the pillow
fight?
fight than the Eiffel Tower situation going on.
What the fuck?
Ew. Okay.
Wait.